You know, it's bad news, dumb shit. When I'm full of rep and be full of red rum, bitch.
Welcome to that wreck. You already know it's your host, PayDae, and everybody loves PayDae like the 1st and the 15th. Y'all know I usually come through and put y'all in that wreck business, but today we gonna travel from that wreck to shy wreck, and we gonna get in the industry business for a quick little second, okay? Now, before y'all get comfortable, make sure y'all, show my like button a little love. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Or you can go ahead and check the video out. And if you enjoy the video at the end, you can subscribe then and turn your post notifications on. That way, anytime I go live or drop a video, you will be notified. You also could purchase a membership if you're interested in that. They're only $4.99, and the membership link will be in the description box below this video. So as you guys already know, I did do a video a few days ago when Durk was originally arrested. Now the full indictment papers are out. I'm going to read through them. We're going to go through them. It is an 11-page indictment. But before we do that, let's go through his past charges because he has been able to beat every charge up until now. So let's get into that. Durk could face the death penalty if convicted on these new charges. He has a laundry list of legal issues, but up until this point, he has beaten every case. In 2011, Durk was arrested for possessing a firearm. He was released on bail, but had to serve only 3 months. Then in June 2013, Durk was arrested for reportedly throwing a loaded revolver out of his car as police approached him in Chicago. He was detained on a $100,000 bail. But one witness confessed that the rifle was his, and Durk was released in July 2013. And then in 2016, Durk was arrested for violating probation after being detained on felony firearm allegations. The courts also dismissed these charges. His most serious charge was a felony shooting charge he faced with the now deceased King Von. The shooting took place near the Varsity in Atlanta after an argument between a group of people near the restaurant. The victim was rushed to Atlanta Medical Center for treatment, and Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis ended up dropping all charges against Chicago rapper Lil Durk. But this might be where his legal luck ends. There are reports that someone from the crew has already snitched, which is why Lil Durk was picked up in the first place. On Lil Durk's 2022 song, Federal Nightmares, he stated, "He on the stand with his head down like he don't know me though. It ain't no point in getting a lawyer if your homie told." Seems prophetic now, huh? Now let's get into the indictment paperwork and the details of this case. So the first page of the indictment doesn't say much, so let's skip on over to the second page. It reads, "This affidavit is made in support of a criminal complaint and arrest warrant against Durk Banks, also known as Lil Durk, for a violation of conspiracy to use interstate facilities to commit murder for hire, resulting in death." They go on to state the history of the FBI agent, so let's skip on down to the summary of probable cause. It states that Banks is the leader of the Chicago-based rap collective known as Only the Family, or OTF. In addition to OTF's status as a rap collective, I know based on the investigation that OTF also acts as an association, in fact, of individuals who engage in violence, including murder and assault, at the direction of Banks, and to maintain their status in OTF. For example, based on evidence collected during the investigation, including the interview of witnesses, I know that Banks put a monetary bounty out for an individual with whom Banks was feuding named TB. TB is Quando Rondo. It goes on to state, as detailed below, on August 19, 2022, multiple OTF members and associates used 2 vehicles and worked in tandem to track, stalk, and attempt to murder TB, Quando Rondo, at a gas station located in Los Angeles, California. The co-conspirators fired at least 18 rounds at TB's vehicles. That is Quando Rondo. Striking and unaliving SR. That is Quando Rondo's cousin, the one that was unalived in the shooting that day. On October 17, 2024, a grand jury sitting in the Central District Court of California returned an indictment charging 5 co-conspirators: Kevon London Grant, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Brian Lindsay, and Asa Houston, with crimes arising from the murder, including murder for hire and conspiracy to commit murder for hire, resulting in death. Let's see. Banks is identified as co-conspirator 1 in the indictment, which is incorporated herein by reference. Based on the investigation and as described below, evidence shows that Banks ordered TB's unaliving and that the hitman used Banks and OTF related finances to carry out the murder. For example, bank and flight records show that an OTF member and close associate of Banks, co-conspirator number 3, coordinated and paid for Jones, Lindsay, Wilson, Houston, and another OTF member. He is considered co-conspirator 2 to travel from Chicago to California on the day before the murder, August 18, 2022. Co-conspirator 3 paid for the flights using a credit card linked to Banks and OTF. Around the time that the co-conspirator 3 purchased the co-conspirator's flights to California, iCloud records show that a phone number associated with Banks text co-conspirator number 3. The text message read, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with me." Additionally, on the same day that the hitman traveled to California from Chicago, Banks also traveled to California with another charged co-conspirator, Grant, on a private jet. Now that's OTF Viney, okay? Y'all know that Banks is Durk, okay? So it's basically saying on that same day that the hitman traveled to California from Chicago, Durk also traveled to California with OTF Viney on a private jet. Later that day, OTF Viney purchased ski masks for the shooters to use to commit the unaliving and pay for the other co-conspirators' hotel room using a credit card in Little Durk's name. It also states, earlier this morning, October 24, 2024, federal and local law enforcement executed multiple search warrants at locations associated with OTF members in and around the Chicago area and arrested Grant, Wilson, Jones, Lindsay, and Houston. After executing the warrants, the FBI learned that Lil Durk had been booked on at least 3 international flights scheduled to leave the United States today. When Banks arrived near one of the deporting airports, he was arrested by law enforcement personnel. So we're going to skip on down to A12 because A11 really didn't say much. It just names everybody and their charges again. I feel like I've said that so many times. So let's go and move on to A12. As alleged in the indictment on August 19, 2022, SR and others, including SR's family member TB, a rap artist named as QR. So it's basically just saying that Quando Rondo and his cousin, who has the initials SR, were together. Then it says we're near their vehicle at a gas station across from the Beverly Center in LA when 3 gunmen opened fire on the vehicle, unaliving Quando Rondo's cousin. Law enforcement personnel subsequently recovered 18 shell casings from the murder scene. So let's do a quick recap on all the evidence they allegedly have against Lil Durk right now. So right now, they can place him in LA at the time because they have him traveling on a private jet with him and OTF Viney. They also have text messages of him instructing OTF Viney not to book anything in any name associated with him. So that's more evidence. They also have recovered 18 shell casings, and they also know that he was trying to flee the United States. That's also stating that everything stemmed from King Von's unaliving and that this was retaliation for that. So that was A. Let's move on to B, titled The Hitman Travel Using Funds Linked to Banks, who is Lil Durk. Okay, they're about to go over more evidence that they have. So it says on August 18, 2022, the day before Quando Rondo's cousin's unaliving, OTF members learned of the location of Quando Rondo from a longtime OTF affiliate, co-conspirator 4. After OTF members learned this, the following men took a one-way flight from Chicago to San Diego. That was Jones, Lindsay, Wilson, Houston, and co-conspirator 2. The one-way tickets to San Diego were purchased using an American Express credit card ending in 2039 and in the name of co-conspirator 3, who is also associated with OTF and Banks. Based on records from Apple, I know that on that same day, a number ending in 9595, believed to be associated with banks, sent a text message to co-conspirator 3 stating, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with me." Based on my review of hotel records, I know that Grant rented and paid for a room at the Sheraton Universal Hotel in Universal City, California on August 18, 2022, using an American Express card in Banks' name ending in 1015. Jones, Lindsay, Wilson, Houston, and co-conspirator 2 stayed at the hotel the night before the co-conspirators tracked, stalked, and attempted to unalive Quando Rondo. Based on my review of bank records, I know the 2039 and 1015 credit cards were issued under an account belonging to OA and Astronaut Sounds LLC. Based on public information, I know that OA was Banks' manager in or around 2022. Georgia Secretary of State online corporation records showed that Astronaut Sounds LLC was initially registered by OA in 2017. A request of amendment was filed in 2021 and a new manager, Banks, was added to the business. The bank records also showed that the Astronaut Sounds American Express account had 4 credit cards issued to 4 individuals: Banks, co-conspirator 3, Banks' father, DB, and OA. That's just stating that all of the credit cards used or linked to directly to Durk in some kind of way. Let's continue. Based on my review of records from a private airplane company, I know that Banks and Grant flew on the same airplane from LA to Miami on August 16, 2022, and back to LA on August 18, 2022, the day before Quando Rondo's cousin was unalive. Records from a rental property show that Banks' manager, OA, rented a house in Encino, California from July 1st, 2022 to October 1st, 2022. Based on investigators' review of photographs of the interior of the Encino rental, I know that video footage from an August 18, 2022 podcast shows the host of the podcast with Banks, wherein Banks appears to be inside the Encino home. On the day of the unaliving, which was August 19, 2022, surveillance video shows TB, SR, and others leave their hotel in LA and enter a black Cadillac Escalade. Surveillance video taken from numerous locations throughout LA, including TB's hotel and the gas station where the unaliving occurred, show that 2 vehicles followed the Escalade for hours leading up to the shooting. So that's basically saying that they have surveillance video of Quando Rondo and his cousin, moving about the city, leaving their hotel room, etc. And they also have footage of them being followed by OTF. One vehicle was a white BMW, is considered murder vehicle 1, and the other was a white Infiniti, considered murder vehicle number 2. Among other things, surveillance video from the murder scene shows murder vehicle 2 parked in an alley behind the gas station where 3 shooters wearing black masks exit the vehicle, later identified as Jones, Lindsay, and co-conspirator 2, walked to the gas station and then opened fire on the Escalade. The shooters then ran back to the murder vehicle 2 and drove away. Murder vehicle 1 drove away from the area just minutes before the shooting. Approximately 50 minutes after the shooting, surveillance video from an In-N-Out restaurant in LA shows Grant, Jones, and Wilson arrive in murder vehicle 1. The video also shows Lindsay and co-conspirator 2 arrive at the In-N-Out in a black SUV. Based on a comparison of surveillance video showing the unaliving video from the In-N-Out restaurant, law enforcement identified that Lindsay, Jones, and co-conspirator 2 were the individuals who opened fire and unalived Quando Rondo's cousin. A few hours after the shooting, Jones, Lindsay, Wilson, Houston, and co-conspirator 2 boarded a flight from San Diego to Chicago. Once again, the credit card in the name of co-conspirator 3 was used to pay for the one-way tickets. They also have in bold, Banks booked multiple international flights after law enforcement arrested multiple co-conspirators and executed search warrants at locations associated with OTF members. I know the following based on my conversations with other law enforcement agents involved in the investigation and my personal involvement in the investigation. In the early hours of October 24th, 2024, law enforcement arrested Grant Jones, Lindsay Wilson in Houston and executed multiple search warrants in the Chicago area, including a warrant to search the home of co-conspirator 3. Shortly after making these arrests and executing the search warrants on October 24th, the FBI received notifications from U.S. Customs and Border Protection showing that Banks had been booked as a passenger on 2 international flights, a one-way flight to Dubai, and later scheduled to depart the evening of October 24th, and a one-way flight from Fort Lauderdale to Switzerland connecting via New Jersey, also scheduled to depart the evening of October 24th. Banks did not board either flight. At approximately 6:40 p.m., the FBI received an additional TBP notification that Banks had been booked as a passenger on a private plane departing Miami and destined for Italy, scheduled to depart at approximately 9 p.m. At approximately 8 p.m., Banks was arrested by law enforcement in the vicinity of the departing airport. In conclusion, for all of the reasons described above, there is probable cause to believe that Banks violated 18 U.S.C. conspiracy to use interstate facilities to commit murder for hire resulting in death. Well, guys, that concludes this video. Please drop in the comment section and tell me how y'all feel about it. Okay, I'll catch y'all next time. I got to get back to work.